Well, hello and welcome once again to the DCL podcast, where we're inviting you to sit back, relax, and we'll be on our way shortly. Well, welcome back to the DCL podcast, your podcast helping your family cruise a little smarter. And I'd like to welcome back to the show. She just arrived into town, back home from Michigan, but she's down in Florida. How you doing today, Christy?
I'm well. How are you, Steve?
Not too bad. I wish people could see your hair. It was kind of like all over the place. Like you just walked in, like it was just getting blown from that plane ride.
I had the biggest hair ever. Like it was ridiculous. Walked from the mailbox and somehow had giant hair. So I threw it back with a pen. This is what ladies have to do. We have to figure out how to move our hair with a pen.
Well, that's what I love about you. You're kind of like the MacGyver of the podcasting community. Yeah. You know, you could come up with like anything to save the day at the last minute. So let's just jump into a fun episode of Talking Disney Cruise Line. What do you think?
I think it's a great idea.
All right. So we have a special guest. And what I think is kind of interesting is, and I think that she probably gets the same kind of response to her and husband, is that sometimes you put out a podcast and people think that they know you just because they listen to you all the time and everything like that. And I feel like I know our guest too, because I'm not the best always on Twitter, but she's on Twitter a lot and we've gone back and forth a couple of times. And so it's finally cool to actually meet somebody. And I'd like to welcome to the show today, all the way from upstate New York. How are you doing tonight, Chloe?
I'm doing well. Thank you so much for having me. I'm super excited to be on the podcast.
And I can't believe okay. So Chloe and Dan, how do you call your vlog?
That's the tough thing because we're Chloe and Dan, but you want to say Chloe and Dan on YouTube, which the on isn't there, but we're Chloe and Dan and we're on YouTube.
Okay. So Chloe and Dan on YouTube, just a super fun vlog. I think it's like kind of a lifestyle vlog is kind of the way I would characterize it. What would you say?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's mostly our Disney travels sprinkled in with a lot of lifestyle and then any other travels we have. And of course, our pug that we love, Joy. But yeah, mostly Disney and our travels there.
And you just got back from up in upstate Maine eating some lobster, which yes. I mean, I know Chrissy's a big lobster fan.
I am not. I would like to be. I look at lobster and I see people eating it. And I think this should be a thing I should eat. I cannot. I don't like it.
You can't get with it?
I don't like things that taste like the sea.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm. I prefer crab over lobster, but we had a great time when we went to Maine.
I am jealous of seafood eaters. I really am. Not Steve with his escargot. I have no desire to eat that ever. But like crab and shrimp and lobster, I've tried it. It looks really good. I just cannot make myself do it.
Well, we were talking ahead of time, Christy, and this is Chloe's first time on a podcast. And I think that's I know, it's so cool. She's been doing this vlog forever. They've been doing this vlog forever, but she's never done a podcast. It's kind of the same as you and I guess. I don't know. Maybe you've done
We don't vlog, so no. There you go.
First time. Super excited.
So welcome to the podcast, Chloe. Let's just kind of jump into it. Do you want to talk about your Disney background first or how you started your vlog?
I've been going to Disney my whole life. My first time to Disney World was at 6 years old. My parents took me to Disney. We kind of went to the Contemporary and walked around. We kind of went every other year growing up. As I made my own money, that's kind of where I spent my money. And then my husband and I, we are actually high school sweethearts. So we've been together over 10 years now. He came with my family to Disney for the first time about 12 years ago. And that's just been where we've gone on vacation. In June of 2019 is when we started our vlog. We were watching like Tim Tracker and Happiest Vlogs and all of those big vloggers. And we were like, oh, we could probably do this ourselves. We basically did it to have the memories because my memory is terrible and I never remember anything. So we've mostly done it for sharing our memories and having a place that, because no one does home videos anymore. The only way to have a home video is kind of to put a vlog together. So that was kind of why we started doing it. We've just had so much fun. We never thought we'd get 100 subscribers, let alone almost like 5,000 now. So it's been super fun. And my love for Disney just never goes anywhere. I mean, we do the vlogs. I also am a travel agent like Christy. It's just so much fun. And we always have a good time going. We never have a bad time. And we've expanded that from Disney World. Now we go to the cruises and we've gone to Disneyland and just all things Disney.
I love the story.
Thank you. We've also been to Aulani and Disneyland Paris. So we've just, hopefully one day we'll make it to the Asia parks.
When your husband went, Dan, for the first time to Disney, did he fall in love with it like you did? Or sometimes it's like one couple kind of drags the other couple into it,
Yeah.
But it seems like I mean, watching your videos, it seems like there's a love for both of you now.
Let me just interrupt and say that we're recording where we can see each other's faces, and Chloe's face is giving away that Dan did not love it at first. So that's all I have to say for the listeners that don't get to see the faces right now.
You're not wrong. So he didn't hate it. He never hated it. He was just more of a slow build, and he didn't love the go, go, go of Disney that we all know and love. So he's not a park open to park close kind of person. So when I go to Disney World with him, it's more so we take it slower. He is a big craft beer guy. So we definitely like to get the beers and slow down and have drinks. So that's when he started to really like it, when I catered the trips more to him. I'm happy doing whatever in Disney. If I'm there, I'm happy. So,
I feel like Dan then is a kindred spirit to Steve and I, because we love being at Disney. But the going every second and riding every ride, that's a lot for both of us. Like Steve could probably do it more, but he would rather have a beer and look at the trees and do Steve things. And I'm like, let's sit on this park bench and also have a cocktail. So I get it. I think Dan and I are kindred spirits.
Yeah, that's exactly, like, if there's a fountain and he can have a beer and look at the fountain, he is happy as a clam. So that is like his go-to, but he definitely enjoys it almost as much as I do now, I think.
You've been to Aulani, you've been to Disneyland Paris, and then the parks here in the US. Dan, as I will attest with Christy, it sounds like I could hang out with him in the parks. We'd have a good time. But I think let's go into the cruise line then, because I think a cruise sounds like the perfect thing for him, because it's not quite so much go, go, go. Or it doesn't have to be. How did you guys transition to Disney Cruise Line then?
So it really was Dan that pushed me to do the Disney cruise. I was kind of on the fence with cruising. I was just like, I don't know, Titanic, I'm scared. And it really wasn't that. Mostly it was the motion sick aspect. I wasn't sure if I'd be able to handle it. Come to find out, I loved it. And it really was up his alley. The slow moving, get a drink, sit on Castaway Cay, that is completely up his alley. Unfortunately, at this point, he has not had a day at sea. So on the wish next year, we will have a day at sea, but that's what he's looking forward to, just kind of sailing for a day. But the 2 cruises we've done with Disney Cruise Line have been the 3-night, and they've been amazing.
I can't believe he hasn't had a day at sea. I feel sorry for him. Oh my goodness. That's like the best, the day at sea.
It so is.
So you've been on the Dream twice. When was your first cruise, Chloe?
Our first cruise was in July of 2018. And we did that for our anniversary. We went to Wilderness Lodge and we added the cruise on at the very end. We booked it like a month ahead of time. I was like, you know what? We're finally going to do this Disney cruise. There was like 3 staterooms left and we had the family deluxe veranda. It was amazing. And we fell in love with it. We absolutely loved it. We unfortunately did not book a placeholder on that cruise. I don't know why we didn't do that.
I totally forgot to on my cruise too. Like I remembered and then I was like, I need to do it. And then I'm like, oh, when am I really going to use it? And now Chris already wants to go on a cruise that he wants me to book with him. And I'm like, I wish I had a placeholder.
Yeah, we should have done that. And we didn't. And then we were supposed to go on a cruise in March of 2020. And when we were sitting in the airport, that was when they announced that everything was shutting down. So we just canceled the whole trip. We didn't even go to Florida because we were supposed to do Universal, then the cruise, then Disney. So we just canceled the whole thing because of COVID. We never got to go on that cruise, and that would have been Dan's first day at sea, which he was looking forward to. But we actually booked the cruise for August of 2021 in February of 2020 before anything crazy happened. And it was for my 30th birthday as like a celebration. Up until about a month out from the cruise, we had no idea if the cruise was happening. Should we make other plans? But we're all very happy that it happened.
That's so awesome.
So you guys booked this cruise a year out. It's getting close like that. I guess what was kind of your strategy, I guess, because we didn't really find out. Was it like a couple of weeks before we knew exactly which cruise was going to go? So did you have everything lined up as far as airline tickets and places to stay?
So we had everything booked for the cruise as if the cruise was happening. And then we also had a second half to our Disney World trip as if the cruise wasn't going to happen. So we had a stay at Copper Creek booked. We had our flights still booked. The flights would have still lined up because it was too much to move them around cost-wise. We had everything in place if we needed to do one or the other, but there were 8 of us. So it was myself, Dan, my parents, my brother, his girlfriend, my sister, her boyfriend. So we all were really hoping the cruise was going to happen. And by some stroke of luck, it did.
Can I just ask logistically, how do you get rid of a Copper Creek stay? Or did you just put those points in holding for the year?
It was room only. I booked it directly through Disney.
Okay. So you could cancel up to 5 days before. Yes. So it was fine. Okay. I got it now.
So that's why we did the room only for that, because if we did a package, we would have had to be paid in full 30 days out. So that was really the only way we could go about it. And I actually didn't cancel that Copper Creek until the 5 days out, even though the cruise was supposed to happen. I was
just in case,
fully not believing it was going to happen.
I totally get that.
So the one time unlucky Friday the 13th was actually lucky for you, and the cruise ended up going.
Yeah, one time.
So did you guys end up staying at Copper Creek then before the cruise, or where'd you guys stay?
We were staying at Riviera. We also booked that directly through Disney. Riviera was not available with the annual pass discount for the nights that we needed for like the just in case part of the cruise, but we figured we could just do a split stay. But the Riviera was absolutely amazing. We did a 2-bedroom villa for all 8 of us, which was perfect and beautiful and actually hard to leave, but the cruise made up for it.
Did you guys go to Topolino? That's one of Christy's favorites.
Yes, we did dinner there. We didn't do the breakfast with 8 adults because I don't know.
Lots of tables.
Yeah, but we loved the dinner. The dinner was one of our favorites.
Okay, before we get you to the port, what were you able to, or how did Disney communicate to you as far as what you're going to need to do prior to getting on the cruise, and what were you able to book ahead of time?
Prior to getting on the cruise, like I said, we didn't find out, I think, till July 24th that the cruise was happening. And they sent us an email saying, at that point, you didn't have to be vaccinated. You could either do the testing prior to boarding or be vaccinated. All 8 of us were vaccinated. So we had to upload the proof of vaccination to the Safe Passage website, which was super easy to do. As far as what we booked ahead of time, because they also changed it to 2 stops at Castaway Cay, we really didn't have too much that we wanted to book excursions. We did look into a cabana, but nothing was available. My dad, on one of the days before the trip, had this whim of he wanted to spend $1,000 on a cabana, which thankfully it wasn't available. We did not need it. But we just booked the snorkels and the rafts ahead of time. And that was really all we booked ahead of time because we didn't do Paulo or Remy. We figured we would just do the 3 nights of the rotations and the dining. And when we got on the cruise, my brother's girlfriend, Laura, and we both booked the massages, which they had plenty of availability. We could have booked the group rainforest room. I think they had a bunch of available time slots, but we didn't feel the need to actually do that just because there wasn't that much downtime that we needed to fill with the rainforest room, but we could have booked it if we wanted to.
So you guys are at Riviera, Chloe. There's 8 of you. How did you guys get out to Port Canaveral the day of the cruise?
So we definitely looked into all of our options. We did look at the Disney's version of their transportation. Between the cost of that and just the time that they would get us to the port, we decided that wasn't really our option. We ended up renting, I guess, a limo, but it was really just like a big van for all 8 of us through Happy Limo. And we did that from the airport to the Riviera, from the Riviera to the cruise, and from the cruise back to the airport. We were very happy with every step of that service.
Have you previously done a private car before for your trips? No. It's lovely, isn't it?
It's very nice. All versions of that transportation were amazing. The air conditioning, being by ourselves, being picked up and dropped off right where we needed to be. And for 8 people, it was, I think, maybe $125 for like...
Oh, God. That's a really good price.
Yeah. Average for each of the legs was about $125. And it was just 100% worth it. I was mostly worried about, because we are not light packers. So for all 8 of us, plus probably about 14 pieces of luggage, we all fit.
So let me just tell the listeners that Chloe, with her vlogs, you should watch, and you should follow her on Instagram when she does her trips. She has so many outfit changes. It is impressive how she can come up with this many outfits for a cruise. And they're all put together, and they have the shoes and they have the purse. And I'm like, let me bring one pair of shoes and see what I can do with them. And she has like a different everything for everything. And I'm not even that much of a girly girl, but I love everything Chloe has going. on her vlog. So everybody should go and watch, and you can see how she had 14 pieces of luggage for 8 people, because she probably had 5 herself, because she has so many clothes. It is fantastic.
I appreciate that. Thank you. I limited myself. I managed to get everything in like one large suitcase, and Dan and I split a duffel bag because I was so worried about the luggage situation. So I'm very good at puzzling and Tetrising all of my accessories into one piece of luggage.
She uses the words accessories. That's all I have to say.
So I guess I got to ask, do you use a spreadsheet for this, or does it just come natural where you can just pull out what you want? You get an idea of what you want to do, and then you just run with it when you're on the ship.
There's spreadsheets, there's lists, there's notes. I have lots of things all over the place. It's one of my favorite pastimes is figuring out my outfits for upcoming trips.
You're probably sarcastic and she's serious. This is the level in which Chloe operates. I am telling you, watch her vlogs, look at the Instagram, look at her outfits. Fantastic. Fantastic.
No, I'm not being sarcastic at all. I am totally impressed is what I am, because anybody that can do that much planning and make it all come together is pretty amazing. Okay. So you get out to Port Canaveral. Things are a little bit different getting on the ship this time compared to when you sailed in 2018. Do you want to talk a little bit about that, getting on the ship, and what was it like getting back on the Disney Dream?
Yeah. So when we arrived with Happy Limo, which I was kind of panicking about that just because it was only the second cruise out after COVID. And I had only heard accounts of people who came by Disney buses or were driving themselves. I hadn't heard anybody get dropped off. So I was like, I don't even know if they'll let us get dropped off. So that was fine. They dropped us off right where you would drop off your luggage normally. So the porters took our bags, which was the same as 2018. And then we followed all the signs and the cast members to the white tents where they checked our check-in, did the safe passage as well, which with the check-in, we had a lot of issues with the photos that we had to upload. My whole brother's stateroom, because my brother, his girlfriend, my sister, and her boyfriend were all in the same stateroom. It didn't accept any of their pictures. So when we were in the parks, I was like, let me just take pictures of you guys. They were looking a little rough because we were in Hollywood Studios. It was 100 degrees. And when we checked in, the cast member didn't believe my brother was the same picture, but we got through. It was fine.
What about the pictures? Did you ever get a sense of why they didn't accept?
Well, I mean, I had taken pictures off of Instagram of my siblings, so maybe they were just a little bit grainy. And I thought they were a better representation of the ones of what they look like versus the ones I took in the parks. But it seemed very particular, like it had to show their ears, had to be straight on, couldn't show anything else, even though I used an Instagram photo for myself and for Dan. But for some reason, theirs was very finicky, but it did eventually accept it. I've heard that when you get to the port, they can just take a picture of you, but for some reason it was kicking it back. And I was worried about that. I didn't want to not have a picture get accepted ahead of time because I wanted everything to be smooth and ready to go, but it all worked out.
So by the time you guys got dropped off through security, had they already gotten to your boarding group, or did you guys have to wait?
No, they hadn't gotten to our boarding group. We had the 1:15 port arrival time. So we got dropped off about 10 minutes before 1, which was fine. They didn't make us wait till 1 because we didn't have to get tested because we were vaccinated. They checked the safe passage. We walked right through, which was very convenient. I think it's going to be more of a delay now that they're testing everybody. So we were lucky in that sense. And we went through security, which was on the first floor, got our bags checked and went up to the waiting area. We waited about 5-10 minutes before they called boarding group 1. And then probably 5-10 minutes later, they called boarding group 3, which was ours. We made our way to go get on the cruise. We did stop to take photos though. And I thought it was really interesting because they're letting you take the masks off to take the photos, which we loved. But we took a group photo of the 8 of us off the ship. And as we were walking away, a cast member stopped us and said, you won't be able to take any group photos together on the ship because there were 8 of us.
If everybody could see our face right now, Steve and I are like making these eyes like, huh?
Yeah, it didn't make much sense to us because we're all together and we're eating together and hanging out together. We thought maybe we wouldn't be sitting together on the ship, but that wasn't a thing. We all sat at the same table. So I'm not really sure what the deal was with that, but they wouldn't let us take group photos.
Did you really not get to take group photos?
Nope, we never were allowed to take a photo, all 8 of us. We could take individual, like couple shots, but they wouldn't let us stand all 8 together and take our mask off and take a photo.
Huh.
Well, I'm just speculating here. Things have been changing so much. And, those first couple of cruises, there probably had some rules that didn't quite make sense. And then I think
Meanwhile,
hopefully they've changed since.
at Walt Disney World, it's still all available space. So, hello, Disney Company.
So it wasn't a huge deal. We didn't have a photo package, so it wasn't like we were upset and thinking, oh no, we're not going to be able to take photos together. It was more of kind of just a question mark. Okay, that's fine. We'll just move on with our day.
Like, huh?
Yeah, interesting.
So what was it like for all 8 of you to get back on the Disney Dream then, just walking on that Disney cruise ship?
Were you all on one little spot? Were you all on one dot?
We were all on one dot for the opening show. And my sister took 2 feet off to take a mini behind her, and she got yelled at. But we were all on one spot. But it was amazing. It was actually my family's first Disney cruise, first cruise for most of them. So they were all super excited to be on a cruise for the first time. For Dan and I, especially with our cruise in March of 2020 getting canceled, it felt very much like a long time coming. I think I said it in the vlog that I posted of us boarding the Dream, just how excited and like, wow, I can't believe this day has finally come. So that was super exciting. And we actually really enjoyed the welcome show, how it was like just an abbreviated version, quick to the point. As 8 adults, we probably wouldn't have gone to the sailing away party. I know for most families, that's a huge priority, but for us, it really wouldn't have been. So for just a quick little, hi, see Captain Minnie and Captain Mickey, that was perfect.
Yeah, some people hate crowds. So even if they have a kid, they don't want to go to the welcome show with all the people. So I am all for that show staying forever.
Yeah, we really enjoyed the just quick to the point. Loved it.
I kind of like the party atmosphere up on the deck, but I know that that's probably not going to happen anytime soon. And then just, as they blow the horn as they go away. But I can't wait to experience this Welcome Aboard show as well. So after the Welcome Aboard show, Chloe, some people do the muster drill. We've kind of covered that on a bunch of different things. That's so much better than what it's been in the past. Did you guys go get some food, or did you guys head to the cabins?
We went to get food first because we were on so early, the cabins weren't available yet. So we went to Animator's Palette. That was perfect. I don't think Cabanas was even open at that point. I think Cabanas opened at 2:30 and it was about 1:30 when we got on the ship. So for us, it was perfect to be in air conditioning, sit down, enjoy a nice meal. And it was my family's first experience of kind of just ordering whatever they wanted on the ship, which they weren't expecting. They knew that's how that would go. But for them, it was just kind of, I can order a dessert and an entree and a salad and whatever I want. So that was really cool for them. And it was just a great first meal. We did feel bad though, because our waiter was awesome. And we were like, oh, can we request you? And it was too late at that point. They had people assigned specifically. They didn't want to move things around with COVID and stuff, but it was a great first meal, first experience for everybody on the ship.
I love that.
What were your parents like? What did they think of the ship? I mean,
they couldn't believe how large the ship was, and just we were all very worried my mom was going to get lost because she has a terrible sense of direction. She got lost at the Riviera. She went up an elevator and went out to the pool when we were out front. So we were all very concerned that my mom was going to get lost, but thankfully she always had a buddy and never got lost. But my dad was just over the moon excited. He had his reservations. He wasn't sure ahead of time with like, should we go on the cruise? Should we just do Disney? By the end of it, he was like, I'll go on another cruise tomorrow. He was so happy. He loved every second of it.
So you guys get done eating lunch at Animator's Palette. Were your rooms ready then, or what did you guys head up to the pool deck? Okay. What did you guys book for the 8 of you?
So we had 3 staterooms. We had 2 of the deluxe staterooms or deluxe ocean view veranda. And then we had them lined up where we had the last 2 in a row. And then the next stateroom was the family size stateroom to give the stateroom with 4 people a little bit more space, which worked out perfectly. So we were all in a row, and we actually had the stateroom host remove the wall between the verandas. So we had that open veranda to walk between the rooms, and we didn't have to go out in the hall to say hi to each other, get anybody's attention. So it really worked out well.
Did you guys use that quite a bit? I mean, because we did that on a Norwegian with our friends, and we loved it. Like just going back and forth, because we go out there for happy hour before we went out for dinner and things like that. So we loved that.
Yeah, it was very convenient, especially with if you went out in the hall, you had to put your mask on. So if you just wanted to like run over and say, hey, 5-minute warning, you have to put your mask on, go knock on the door. We could just kind of scoot out and go tell them what we needed. And there were many nights where we sat on the veranda and just kind of, there was storms in the distance. We watched like the lightning storms or had drinks, and it was great.
Did you bring any wine or beer on board with you?
Yes. So all 8 of us took advantage of whatever allotment we could get. I'm not a huge drinker. So Dan actually used my 6 beers and then he brought 6 beers. All the guys brought beer and then Laura brought on 2 bottles of wine. So we all took full advantage of whatever we could bring on. The 4 guys actually did the package on the ship where you got like the cooler and 20 beers. Not sure what it comes out to, but they all did that too.
Sort of beers.
Yeah. So there was plenty of beer and alcohol to go around.
It was a very festive cruise is what you're saying.
Yes.
So yes. Okay.
I love that. So for our listeners, if you want to bring on alcohol, you can bring on beer or wine in a certain quantity. It's like 6 beers and the cans have to be in a certain size. You should check the note before you go, and you should check the description on Disney Cruise Line before you board. An adult can bring on for sure 1 bottle of wine, like the regular bottles, not the big fat bottles. You could bring that on. You could bring on 6 beers, I believe. And I think they have to be cans. So if you want to bring those beverages on, just look at the website before you go, but you can bring them. Then you can ask for wine glasses and then bring your own corkscrew. Otherwise, if you go and you open the bottle in the dining room, there is a fee for that. But otherwise, you can bring your little wine glass into the dining room and bring it with you. So you don't have to pay extra for it.
Yeah, we didn't ask for the wine glasses, but we actually forgot to bring a corkscrew. And my brother's girlfriend, Laura, on the app with the guest services, she was able to message them and ask for a corkscrew, and they brought one right up to her. So if you forget one, don't hesitate to ask. I'm sure they have one available to bring to you.
I love that.
Yeah.
See, the app is not all bad, Christy.
Whatever. Let me just say, people want the paper navigator. We still want it.
The never-ending shtick that is you and I back and forth with the navigator. Okay, so let's turn to food before we talk about some of the fun that you guys had on board. You've been on the Dream before with the 3 different restaurants. I know you guys didn't get a Paolo Remy this time. What was your dining rotation? And kind of talk about maybe some of the highlights of each one of the restaurants or one of the restaurants.
So our dining rotation was Animator's Palette, Enchanted Garden, and Royal Palace, which was actually the same rotation we had on our first cruise. So that was kind of interesting for Dan and I to have the same rotation. We actually never got to eat at Royal Palace on our first cruise because we did Paolo the last night. So it was nice to have a new experience. And Royal Palace ended up being our favorite, everybody's favorite out of everybody. That was the best meal, best atmosphere with the live music. They had like the piano and the violin. So that was really cool. And then the food was just the best in our experience. 2 of us did try escargot. I've had it before and I did try it again. It's not my favorite thing in the world, but for included in the price, we decided why not? And overall, it was just an amazing experience, especially being the last meal of the cruise. It just had the emotion of everybody just being excited and having such a fabulous vacation. So I don't know if that kind of weighed into loving it the most. We really enjoyed that whole dining experience.
I think it really is the classiest of the 3, don't you, Christy?
Oh, yeah. I mean, and even like the little things like the bread basket.
Yep.
That is so adorable. And the
Table placard?
The placards with that has the little Cinderella in it with the numbers of the table. But it's a lovely restaurant.
Totally agree.
Are you a Cinderella fan, Chloe? Or
I am. So I was partial to that.
What female that's a Disney fan is not?
True.
I shouldn't say fan because that seems that would annotate that you might not like her for some reason if you're not her fan, I guess, right? But yeah, I just think the theming in that restaurant, and especially like you said, the last night with the food choices that you have there I could see where it was really magical. How about some of the other food choices? What was Cabanas like for you? And did you guys take advantage of any of the quick services when you're up on the pool deck?
We actually never made it to Cabanas because the first day on, we went to Animator's Palette, and then my family, we are not early risers, so we usually missed the Cabanas breakfast. We weren't in a rush to get off at Castaway Cay. Our breakfast or early lunch was actually Flo's. We would get chicken tenders or chicken fingers, whatever you want to call them. We would usually split a bunch of those and the pizza. So we frequented that a lot, and we all loved the chicken tenders. Cabanas, I can't speak on, but we did love Flo's.
Let's stay with the pool deck just real quick. What was the pool deck like? Did you guys go to the adult area? Did you ride the aqua duck, or what all did you guys do?
Yeah, so the first day on the ship, we went to the adults only section, and hung out by the pool. Unfortunately, it wasn't long before storms kind of rolled in, so they closed the pool, but we still hung out at the pool bar there, sat in the loungers and just kind of hung out. So that was really nice. We pretty much had the whole area to ourselves. I think there were maybe 4 other people in the whole area. We did the aqueduct after the first day at Castaway Cay, and we waited probably about a half hour to do that. That was something that Dan and I didn't do on our first cruise. We just didn't have time. So it was high on our list to do this time. And that was super fun. I'm really glad we made time to do it. One thing I will note, if you're going to bring like a GoPro, just make sure you have like a wrist strap, something to strap it to you, because that's the only way you can bring a GoPro on the aqueduct. So if you want to video the experience, just make sure you have that.
And probably be ready for that with the Aqua Mouse on the Wish as well, huh?
I'm sure, yeah.
Yeah. What do you think of Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway?
Oh, I love that. That's like one of my favorite rides right now.
Same.
I think I'm super excited about the Aqua Mouse and the technology that they're going to kind of use between the two of that and the Aqueduct to just make it a over the top experience on the Wish.
Yeah, it looks like it's going to be amazing.
All right, Christy, take us into the spa.
Okay, so you've mentioned the spa a couple of times, and we don't talk about the spa that much except for the rainforest room. So we must have a detailed replay of what the spa experience is like.
I can't say there's too many details to go into, just because I think probably a lot of things have changed just with COVID and COVID changes. But like I said, we signed up for the massage the first day we got on the ship. When we were at the adults only pool, we kind of hopped into Senses and found out what was available. We went and did the massage on the last morning. And when we got there, we checked in. We waited probably about 10, 15 minutes for them to come out and get us. We both had booked Swedish massages. I think we had Swedish massages. Yeah, because I didn't want a deep tissue. I was afraid I was going to get hurt because I've had some very intense deep tissue massages before. So we both went with the Swedish, and our masseuses took us back to the rooms. We obviously went in separate directions. In my room, I talked with the masseuse, and she kind of just went over everything. I did have to wear my mask while I was getting my massage, which honestly wasn't that big of a deal for me. I kind of felt like the mask made me more relaxed. I don't know. I think it was maybe just in my head. So I wore the mask the whole time, but it wasn't an issue. And she just kind of did the whole massage. And at the end, they did bring in like I think like oils and things that they sell you, but I didn't partake in any of that. But yeah, I really enjoyed the whole massage experience. It was super relaxing. I would recommend taking a shower back in your cabin after that, just because you're very oiled up and kind of gross, but it was a very good experience.
Are the showers open for you up in the spa area to use those if you wanted to?
I know the fitness center was open. The showers probably were available, but they didn't direct us to the showers. So I didn't want to delay everybody leaving to go to Castaway Cay any longer. So we kind of just went back up to our staterooms to shower up, but we could have probably gone down there. But obviously the rainforest room, if you want to do that, you had to pay for the up to 10 people for, I think, an hour and a half on the ship. So obviously we couldn't do that.
Did you guys consider that because you had such a large group?
We did. It just didn't fit into any time frame. Like I said, we were more interested in the drinks. So at night, we kind of would go to the lounges, and that was a priority for us. And then Castaway Cay, we're a big beach family. So if we could get to the beach, we were just going to go there. So it really just didn't fit into the time frame. But for 8 of us, it wouldn't have been a bad deal.
I mean, it's a 3-day cruise. We talked about this when I did my trip report. It's just so quick.
Yes.
That you cannot fit it all in.
Yeah, you really have to prioritize what you really want to do and then what you can kind of fit in.
So you finished your massage and you took your quick shower, and then you went to Castaway. Talk about that with your family. Did you go to Serenity Bay or did you stay on the family beach?
We went to Castaway Cay, which I will mention when we were getting off for Castaway Cay, they had done the app saying like sign up to get your time to leave to go to Castaway Cay. That didn't work at all. I had done it both days. And both days, I think I was still waiting for my time by the time I got back on the ship. So I had messaged guest services the first day and I said, hey, this keeps just going up in time. Can we just go? And they said, yeah, no problem. There was nobody even getting off the ship at the time we got off. So I don't really know what was going on there. I think they weren't updating the app. But we went to the family beach the first day, just because I think it's kind of cool that you can see the ship from that beach versus Serenity Bay. And then the second day we did Serenity Bay. I think we all really enjoyed Serenity Bay more than the family beach, just because the water's so crystal clear blue. There was like nobody over there. It was just a great experience.
That's interesting that the experience that second day was that there weren't as many people at Serenity Bay because we had reports, and I believe that cast members told other people that have been on our show that Serenity Bay was actually more crowded because there was just less people with kids, but that's great to know. Also, did you actually feel that the water was more clear at Serenity Bay than it was at the family beach?
It did seem that way. I don't know if it was just in our heads or if the sun was just more out. We actually had very good luck both days. The sun was shining. We didn't have any rainstorms. 3 days before our cruise, that's when Hurricane Fred was coming up the coast. So we really didn't know if we'd even get Castaway Key days. So to have 2 Castaway Key days with no rain was absolutely amazing.
I'm thinking it's a conspiracy. Those cast members are like, oh my gosh, it's packed over there, Serenity Bay. You don't want to go over there. And then they're all over there. They get the place to themselves. So
maybe I think that's actually true. It could be.
So Chloe, you also talked about getting rafts and snorkels while you're at Castaway. Did you guys do that both days? And did everybody do that?
We had 8 people. I probably shouldn't have signed all 8 of us up to do the rafts because there was never a time when all 8 of us were using them. We all did use them throughout the day. So it was nice to have 8, I guess. We probably could have pared that down to about 4 or 6 of us. So we did have that for both days. We only used them the first day. We didn't even grab them the second day for Serenity Bay. And then as far as snorkeling, only 4 of us did the snorkels. We didn't all get the snorkels. So that was nice, but we probably could have done 2 of us just getting snorkels. But I guess with COVID and germs, it's better to have each get your own. The 4 of them did go out and they did see the statues. They made it all the way out there and they really enjoyed it. They didn't see any like crazy sea life. We actually, the second day, were told by cast members that there was a shark and a stingray over in Serenity Bay, which we missed by like 10, 15 minutes. So I was kind of bummed about that because I would have liked to have seen, it was just like a little tiny shark. So I would have liked to have seen that, but that's okay.
Was there anything else memorable about Castaway Key?
No, but for us, it was nice just to be there on a beach because where we live, there's no nice beaches to go to. So usually we go to Canada to go to a nice beach. And we can't go to Canada right now. For our family, like I said, we're beach people. For us, after a year and a half, just to sit on a nice warm sandy beach was pretty amazing.
How did it work with 8 people? Because they put the chairs in clusters of 2 and they ask you not to move it. So what happens?
Yeah, we didn't ever really sit on the beach. We were mostly, It was like 6 of us in the water, maybe 2 people on a thing. We had enough. I think we had like 2 seats next to each other. So there was 2 and 2, but there was never all 8 of us sitting in the chairs at one time.
And then did you eat both at the family beach and at Serenity Bay?
Each day we did the family one and we did the Serenity Bay barbecue. We never had any of the steak though. We'd filled up our plates completely and then got to the steak and we're like, oh, we should have got steak.
And just for the listeners, they serve steak over at Serenity Bay, which I don't understand. Families like steak. But so which barbecue did you like better?
I think I liked the Serenity Bay better just because there were less people. There weren't a ton of people at the family one, don't get me wrong. It just felt like calmer, less people, more attention from the cast members. So that was nice, but they were both good.
Did you eat at Cookies 1 or Cookies 2 when you were at the family beach?
Cookies 2.
Okay. Just curious. So Cookies 1, for anybody, you guys have heard of this already, our listeners, but Cookies 1 is where the allergy people's foods are. So that's the one I'm always stuck at. But I'm always just curious. So, and I think more people go because for whatever reason, they stop at the second stop when the tram is taking them. That's where Cookies 2 is located. And that's probably where there's more people. That's closer to Pelican Plunge. Hey, Chloe, did you guys go to Pelican Plunge?
No, we didn't go to Pelican Plunge. Dan and I went to Pelican Point to have some drinks and kind of look at the ship. We had seen that in somebody else's vlog and it was on Dan's like bucket list for Castaway Key. So we made sure to do that. We never made it over to Pelican Plunge because I'm always worried about, sea lice that can kind of bite up your legs. We have some very sensitive people in our family where if they're itchy, they'd be complaining the rest of the cruise. So we avoided that.
I think Pelican Point is one of our favorite spots. Hanwick and I go over there usually right before we go back to the ship and have a drink as well. It's just a great place to kind of end the day on Castaway Key with the ship in the background. It's just so beautiful over there.
Is it over by Serenity Bay?
No, Pelican Point is kind of between It's kind of right near Cookies too, honestly. It's like where the shopping is, and then there's just like this little pier that goes out, and there's just a little bar in the little sitting area, and you have like a great view of the ship.
Clearly, I've never been there, but I feel as though on one of my upcoming cruises, I need to go there. So I think I'll make that happen when Blake goes to the kids club sometime. I mean, research, right? I have to try it for research.
Yeah, I mean, when we went on the cruise the last time, just because we booked it so close to when we went, we felt like we didn't know enough going on the cruise. So this cruise, we had watched tons of Disney vlogs. We were fully prepared. We're like, okay, we're going here. We're doing this. We're going here. So we made sure to check off all those places.
Okay, so you mentioned watching vlogs before the cruise.
Yes.
And so I need to know, because I never know. We don't do any of the things on the cruise ships, which is pathetic. But tell us all the other things that you learned about on the vlogs that then you went and did as a party of 8 in the evening, the other activities that occurred on Disney Cruise Line.
Like I said, we did watch a lot of cruise vlogs, mostly Adam Hatton. He has tons of cruise vlogs to watch. He does a lot of like going to the lounges. So one of the things that was on my bucket list was going to the Pink Lounge, which is like the champagne bar.
I can see that about you because you're very into pink, which is not a bad thing. It's adorable.
Thank you. Yeah, so that was high on my list and we went there. Unfortunately, my family's not huge into champagne, so Dan and I kind of cleaned up what everybody else didn't drink there. But if you like champagne, I highly recommend going there. And then the other thing that we learned about, Dan and I had watched this on the first cruise we went on, was the match game. So we kind of told my whole family about it the night that it was happening. I think they did it 2 nights. They might have done it 3 nights. I don't know. We only watched it the first night. But the first night we told everybody, hey, we're going to go watch the match game if anybody wants to come with us. And so my brother and his girlfriend were like, we want to try and get picked. They've been together about 6 years. I was like, they usually pick people who are engaged or like newly married. And I think just with like not a lot of people being on the cruise, they actually did get picked. They didn't know the kind of questions that got asked in the match game. So they had some interesting answers. They did not win, but they did a really good job. So that was super fun. And
Wait. Was your whole family of 8 there while they were answering these questions too? And did they do the whole like stand up and kiss each other during the like? I need you not to just gloss over this. I need more information.
I'm not going to tell their answers, but my dad was the only one who didn't come with us to the match game.
Probably better that way.
Yeah, they didn't make them kiss, but they did ask like the simple questions. What was your first date? What did you first notice about each other? And the more interesting questions, like what would you describe your love life as? And they gave the Disney songs, like Almost There from Tiana, Wonderful Whole New World. But it was all in good fun. And we didn't like bring it up after they did the match game. It was
probably
just
better.
Yeah. But they were good sports and it was a very good show. They had good comedic timing. I kept a couple of the clips, the more PG clips in the vlog. They did a good job.
Oh my God. I love this.
Do you remember who the cruise director, or was that the entertainment director was by any chance? Was she African-American?
No, I don't know. It wasn't her because I've seen her on vlogs. It wasn't her. And I think the person who was doing it was filling in because she was very nervous and very stressed that she didn't know how to keep things going. She did a great job. Don't get me wrong, but I don't think that it was her normal gig. I was hoping it was the girl you're talking about. I can't think of her name, but she usually does a really good job in those shows. It was still good fun.
Oh my gosh, she had us just die and laugh. And she was on our Mediterranean cruise that we did, and she just made the whole cruise. Can we go back to Pink for just a second? So somebody that doesn't know much about champagne, did they do a really good job of like, going in there and telling you like, if you explain to them what you wanted to try or something like that, did they kind of give you a good history and background of each one of the champagne so you know what you were tasting?
The cast member who served us didn't. Maybe if we would have asked, we kind of there was Trio of Bubbles, I think it was called, or Duo of Bubbles. That's the one that I got, which gave you the 2 cheaper champagnes that they had on the menu. And then there was obviously, you could get those individually. I think there were a couple of cocktails on there. Maybe we all acted like we knew more about champagne than we actually do. And they didn't feel the need to explain them, but we didn't get any explanation, but that was fine. We were just kind of there for the atmosphere and the vibe. So that was okay.
Did you guys do any beverage tastings during your cruise?
We didn't. The first day we got on the cruise, we were at the pool bar. The cast member there was kind of trying to push some of the beverage tastings. I think that would have been too much. Those all sound very intense to me for an hour of straight drinking of tequila or bourbon or any of those.
I think you would really like the champagne one.
I think that one wasn't available.
Okay.
I think all the hard liquors were still left, and the ones that we probably would have done, like maybe the wine or the champagne, which I might do on a future cruise, but the other ones were kind of too intense, I think.
I understand. I feel the same way. Goals, though, for your future cruise. I've heard wine is fantastic. Even the mixology is fun. But I love the champagne tasting. I just think that was such a good experience. I love the education. I would probably do that again.
Yeah, that one sounds really interesting. I'll have to make sure we book that for the Wish.
I think that one and the chocolate and liqueur one are the ones that we'd really like to do as well, along with the champagne. So I've got a question for you, Chloe. So you've got a group of 8 people. I think cruising is like one of those great options for a vacation because people can kind of go and do different things during the day, and then you can come back with everybody at dinner. How did that work out for your guys' family?
It worked out pretty well. For the most part, I think we all stayed together other than like doing the massages for the 2 of us. My dad was kind of the only one who would split off and kind of chill in the room, but it was nice for him to know, like, if he did want to come and meet up with us, he could easily just walk down the hall and come see us. But for the most part, we did hang out with each other. It was nice that we had the option that after, I think it was 9 nights together, we could split off and have some time away from each other, but we stayed together the whole time.
Besides Pink, was there any other favorite spots that you guys hung out with on the ship? We
really enjoyed Meridian. That was the last place we went on the cruise. It was like the last night. We just wanted to sit outside. We were in, I think, 687, and the lack of windows in there was kind of just depressing at that point. We really wanted to see the water go by and just experience the salty air. So we went to Meridian, and that was really nice just to kind of sit out there. And if you have an iPhone and you like set the exposure, I think, really high and hold it still and do like the night mode, my brother was getting some really cool pictures of the sky out there at night. So that was super fun. Dan's favorite place on the ship is Bon Voyage. If you've ever seen the movie Passengers, the bar in that movie reminds him of the Bon Voyage bar. So that's always a must for him.
I don't even know where that bar is located.
That's just the one right off the atrium.
Oh, okay. Okay.
It just has that look.
I get that. I grabbed wine glasses from there for my wine in my cabin.
All right. So a couple more things to touch on before we finish up. Chloe, you guys also did a whole vlog on shopping. Do you want to talk about that? Did you find anything interesting on board?
Yeah. So in Disney World, I was actually very disappointed with the merch. I felt like they didn't have anything really new or interesting. And being on the cruise, I kind of went crazy. Dan ended up getting the Disney Cruise Line Corksicle, which I think was new because they've been coming out with the Corksicles all over the resorts and on the cruise. So that was really nice. What else did we get? We bought a lot of stuff. I bought the Captain or Sailor Spirit jersey, the red one with the gold stripes. That was really cute. Tons of pins. There will be a haul eventually coming soon because I did kind of go crazy between the ship and Castaway Cay. Pins, towels, all sorts of fun things. Oh, I think we all bought sweaters too.
Like actual sweaters?
Yeah, like the zip up sweater. It had the 2021, the new logo on the back, and it's super cozy and comfy. So like myself, my mom, we bought those. And then my sister bought it was like striped sweater. So we just went crazy.
Are you into Pandora at all by any chance?
No, I'm not a Pandora person.
Okay. We'll skip that then.
What's your question? Because
Anaway got into Pandora when we went to Vero Beach the other time. So she got something from Vero, she got something from Alani. And so she's looking forward to getting something on the cruise ship.
They have a few Pandora items, but they have a Captain Mini that I will be getting at some point, but they have a couple of others as well.
And she wasn't really into it until just recently. So I'm not sure what changed, but yeah, I don't know. Something just changed with her. All of a sudden she loves it. So also there was fireworks at sea. So not only did you get to see fireworks at Disney World, fireworks at sea. Can you talk a little bit about that? How was that?
Yeah. So leading up to the cruise, because there wasn't a whole lot of information, we were kind of worried, like, Pirate Night, was that going to happen? Would the fireworks happen? Obviously, Pirate Night, they're kind of skipping for now, but they still did the fireworks. And I actually enjoyed the new fireworks more than I enjoyed the pirate fireworks. And we actually watched the fireworks from, was that Currents that's up there in the adults only section because there was nobody up there. So we sat up there and watched the fireworks from that viewpoint, and that was really nice. But I can't imagine on a full cruise that you could walk up 5 minutes before and get a spot up there. but we loved the fireworks. The pirate show they used to do was cute, but we just liked going and sitting up there and watching the fireworks. That was pretty awesome.
And did you see any other entertainment, like evening shows?
So they only were doing Beauty and the Beast, and we thought it was all 3 nights. So the second night we we're like, let's go see Beauty and the Beast. We got all ready and realized that they skipped the middle night. So we made sure to watch it the last night. And my family was thinking that Dan and I were saying we have to go see Beauty and the Beast, that we were telling them we had to go watch a show like the one in Hollywood Studios.
Mm-hmm.
Like, cute, but it's okay.
Not the same.
No, not at all. And we all walked out of that show. I mean, Dan and I knew we were going to love it, but my family was completely blown away. They loved the length of time of the show. They loved everything about it. They couldn't believe that every show in the world doesn't use those effects. That was absolutely amazing. And that was probably one of the highlights for, I think, most of us on the cruise.
Well, before we finish up this trip report, Chloe, was there anything else that stood out that we haven't talked about on this cruise?
No, I think we've pretty much touched on everything. I mean, overall, it was an absolutely amazing trip. The cruise exceeded everybody's expectations, especially my parents. Like I said, Beauty and the Beast was probably the most exciting thing that happened on the ship, but we absolutely loved the double dip to Castaway Cay. Obviously, booking the cruise, we thought it was Castaway Cay and then one stop at Nassau. Happy that didn't happen, because we would have spent $1 million trying to get to Atlantis. So it was definitely an advantage that it was 2 days at Castaway Cay and the beautiful weather. So we really couldn't ask for anything better. And our cruise, I think when we got on the ship, we had talked to a cast member and they said there were about 1,200 guests on board and there were 1,200 cast members. So 1-to-1 service basically. So you really can't ask for a better cruise. I don't think my family will ever have a better experience than that. So hopefully the next time we go on a cruise, it's just as amazing, but I don't think we can top that experience.
It's a dream, isn't it?
It was a dream.
Oh, the puns. I love it.
Usually you're the pun guy.
I know. But I think this is an amazing time for if you feel comfortable and are able to go on a cruise right now, just because of all those. It sounds like the same thing with Celebrity, the cruise that you went on as well, Christy, and some people that have been on Royal Caribbean kind of having these same experiences. So good for you and your family. You guys had the car planned to pick you up to take you back after the cruise. How was getting off the next day? And did you... Well, I know what the answer is because you didn't go to Cabanas this time. So obviously you ate back at Royal Palace, where you had dining the last night of the cruise. How was getting off the ship and that last meal on board? Yeah, getting off the ship was super easy, super convenient. I think, well, there was nobody in line to even go through customs when we got off the ship, just because there weren't that many people. The only thing I will say is if you have 8 people, don't assume that everybody has their luggage. At one point I said, everybody account for your bags. And my mom was like, oh yeah, I don't have one of my bags, before we got it too far away. So just make sure you have all your bags before you walk away from the luggage area to pick up everything. That was the only hiccup we had, but it wasn't really a hiccup just because we realized before we got too far. But getting off the ship was super easy, super convenient. Always sad to leave any vacation, especially a Disney cruise. So that was the only downside, but the Happy Limo was waiting for us when we got out there. We just told them which number to pick us up from, and we made our way back to the airport, where we did a day pass at the Hyatt.
Oh, that's awesome. Let's talk about that for a second.
We booked the day pass at the Hyatt, which is right in the Orlando airport. You can only do 4 people to a room, so we had to do 2 rooms, obviously, because we had 8 people. It's $99 per room, and you get the room from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m., and it was super great because we were all exhausted after our long vacation. Check-in was super easy. I had checked in ahead of time, just had to grab the keys. So we had access to beds for everybody if anybody wanted to nap, which most of us did, showers, a TV to just kind of chill. And then there is a pool there if you want to go to the pool and hang out. But it was a great spot for us, especially just because we didn't have to worry about getting to the airport or traffic or anything at that point. We could just kind of chill in the room and then go down when our flight was ready.
That is so much more comfortable than sitting in those seats at that airport. Oh my goodness. We've just ended up going over to Disney Springs and stuff like that and killed some time. But I think I like that idea better, actually.
Yeah, so that's what Dan and I had done on our first cruise. We had a car at that point and we went and hung out in Disney Springs. We went to see a movie, went shopping, but I just remember being so exhausted after getting off that cruise that I knew 8 people to keep them happy and like not overheating and summer Florida weather. And if there was rain or anything, it was just easiest to find a place we could all sit and be chilled and hang out. So the day passes worked amazing.
What a great idea. And just for our listeners, always look into that in advance, but it is not always available. So just something to keep in mind there. It is capacity controlled. Make sure to book early if it's something you're interested in.
Definitely.
So before we get out of here, Chloe, do you have any tips or tricks for people that are sailing with Disney Cruise Line for the first time, sailing with them now that the cruise line has started back up? Anything else that come to mind to help their sailing be just a little bit easier?
Yeah, for sure. I would definitely recommend bringing like a tumbler or something, even though you don't fill up your own drinks right now. Like they'll give you the cups for you, but if you have a tumbler, they'll give you 2 or 3 to fill up the tumbler instead of going back continually to get the small cups. I'm a big Diet Coke person, so anything to avoid walking back and forth to get that is a huge win in my book. And then also lanyards. Obviously, if you have been on a cruise before, you'll get the silver lanyard to carry around, but I had brought a couple extra so my family could each have their own lanyard, but those make everything kind of easier to get around and not lose your key card or anything like that. But those are probably my 2 biggest tips.
Well, you mentioned at the top of the show, Chloe, that you're also a travel agent. I'd love to give you the opportunity if people would like to get in touch with you to book a possible cruise or some type of Walt Disney World vacation. How can they get a hold of you?
Yeah, you can get a hold of me at mrsmousetravel_MVP on Instagram or c.colton@magicalvacationplanner.com. It's all in our bio of our vlog. So if you're ever looking for me, even if you just want to message me to talk about Disney, I am always down to talk about anything Disney related.
Well, that's like one of the fun things that I've kind of noticed about our community is that, when maybe if you get stuck with something, as fellow travel agents, Christy, you and Chloe could possibly at times talk back and forth and help each other out. I know that you've done that with some other travel agents, Christy. So I think it's cool that this community is so positive to help others out in booking their trips and getting what they want.
Absolutely.
Definitely.
I would be remiss if I didn't give you an opportunity to talk about your vlog as well, Chloe.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. So you can find us at Chloe and Dan on YouTube. Obviously, like we talked about, we just got back from Maine. So those vlogs are going up, more of our Disney World vlogs. All of the cruise vlogs that we talked about, this cruise that we talked about today are already up there. So if you want to go see how that looked in our experience, definitely go check that out. And we have a cruise with Virgin Voyages coming up in November, and then we'll be on the Wish next July. So lots of things to look forward to.
All right, I got to put a plug in right now. Will you come back and talk to us about Virgin Voyages?
Yeah, for sure.
I am so curious about that cruise line.
I am too. And their teeny tiny pool. Like, I just don't understand the teeny tiny pool, but I cannot wait to hear how it works in reality.
Yes, I will definitely come back. That's on November 7th we go. So pretty soon.
Awesome. Where does it go to?
We are on a Mexico one. So it's 1 stop at Cozumel, and then 2 days at sea and 1 day at their beach club, Bimini.
So Dan will get his day at sea. He'll get 2 of them.
He'll get 2. He's so excited.
Well, I'm excited for him as well. All right. Well, thank you so much, Chloe, for coming on our show today. Thank you for the amazing vlogs that you do for everybody out there to kind of, relive your experiences, but also learn from them so that their experiences on board Disney Cruise Line, visiting Walt Disney World, or getting lobster up in Maine is just as exciting and easy for them as well. So thank you so much for coming on tonight. It's been a pleasure.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. I've had so much fun. I can't wait to come back.
All right. All the best. And we'll see you after that Virgin voyage in November.
Yeah, sounds good.
Hi, everyone.
Well, that's going to wrap up our show today. Once again, I really want to thank Chloe for coming on and sharing her and her husband Dan's experiences as they sailed on the beautiful Disney Dream, featuring 2 stops at Castaway Cay. And if you're not following her on YouTube yet, I really highly encourage you to go over there and check out their vlog, Chloe and Dan. She's got all the highlights and all the videos from this cruise that we talked about, along with all their adventures exploring Walt Disney World and on several other different adventures around the country as well. So if you aren't following her and her adventures already, go over to Chloe and Dan on YouTube. Also, you can find Chloe and Dan vlogs over on Instagram, and she's also really active on Twitter as well. And we look forward to catching back up with her after she gets off that Virgin voyage as well in November. Well, if you're enjoying this show, we sure would appreciate it if you'd pass it on to others who might enjoy it as well. That helps us get the word out in the Disney cruising, just the cruising community and the Disney community as well. If you have time to go over and leave us an iTunes review, we sure would appreciate it. That helps get the message out as well. As always, we'd like to thank our Patreon supporters who help bring this show to you each and every week. Thanks to each and every one of them who support us. You can go over to patreon.com/DCL podcast and find out all the information there. Well, between now and our next show, if you're heading out on a vacation, heading out on a Disney cruise, heading down to Walt Disney World for the 50th, on behalf of myself, Steve, Christy, and Chris, all of us here at the DCL podcast, we want to wish you to be well. Enjoy the time you have with each other. Enjoy the special moments, and we'll see you next time on the DCL podcast. The DCL podcast is not affiliated with the Disney Cruise Line, Walt Disney Company, Adventures by Disney, or Run Disney. All of the opinions expressed on our shows are those of the hosts and the guests who appear on the show. If you have any questions about any of these products, please contact the Walt Disney Company.